What if I told you that some of the world's most powerful first ladies move through our world like shadows, traveling in ways that would make James Bond jealous? From Melania Trump's $1 million Secret Service entourage to Carmen Iohannis's nearly €23 million budget for foreign visits, these first ladies' movement are classified mission with armed detail, ghost convoys, and backup teams you'll never see. Starting with Melania Trump. Melania Trump's travel as First Lady involved what experts have called the most elaborate security and logistical arrangements in presidential history, with costs that were significantly higher than those of previous first families. The scale of Melania's travel security was truly staggering. Secret Service agents arrived months before her trips to conduct reconnaissance, securing venues, mapping motorcade routes, and identifying nearby medical facilities. But this was just the beginning of what can only be described as a military-grade operation designed to move one woman safely and secretly across the globe. When Melania traveled, the very sky above her became a fortress. Temporary flight restrictions created no-fly zones with a 10-mile inner ring prohibiting flights below 18,000 feet and a 30-mile outer ring for additional safety. Imagine the entire airspace around a major city being completely shut down just because one person is passing through. That's the level of security we're talking about here. But perhaps most telling about the secretive nature of Melania's travels was what happened when she stayed in hotels. When staying in hotels, entire floors above and below her room were cleared and secured, adding dramatically to both the logistical complexity and the astronomical costs. Picture this: you're staying at a luxury hotel, and suddenly every guest on 3 entire floors has to be relocated because the First Lady needs maximum security and privacy. The financial implications of these arrangements were nothing short of breathtaking. While living in Trump Tower in 2017, the New York Police Department estimated security costs at $127,000 to $146,000 per day when only Melania and Barron were present, escalating to $300,000 per day when the president was in town. To put this in perspective, that's more money in a single day than most American families earn in an entire year. The Trump family's travel expenses reached such extraordinary levels that the Secret Service requested an additional $60 million for Trump-era travel and protection, with $26.8 million allocated for Trump Tower security alone. That's enough money to fund entire government programs. One of the most shocking examples of these extreme costs came from what should have been a routine international trip. A 12-hour visit to Toronto cost $174,000, while a $95,000 Cairo hotel bill was incurred for a brief stop where she didn't even spend the night. The very fact that we know so little about the specific details of how she traveled tells us everything we need to know about the level of operational security involved. Kim Keon-hee. Moving from America to Asia, we encounter one of the most enigmatic figures in modern politics, Kim Keon-hee, the former First Lady of South Korea, whose secret travels have become the stuff of international intrigue and scandal. Kim Keon-hee's story reads like a political thriller, complete with luxury gifts, high-stakes casino connections, and mysterious disappearances from public view. Specific details about Kim Keon-hee's secret travels are scarce, likely due to their private nature and the high-profile status of the former First Lady of South Korea. The most fascinating clue about Kim's potential secret travels emerged from an unexpected source. A June 2025 report revealed that prosecutors investigating luxury gifts allegedly intended for Kim uncovered a trail of high-stakes casino bets in Las Vegas tied to Unification Church leader Han Hakja. This suggests that Kim may have traveled to Las Vegas privately, as the trip was not publicly reported as an official state visit. What makes Kim Keon-hee's case particularly intriguing is her strategic use of absence as a form of secrecy. Kim's absence from public view for 4 months in early 2024, following her return from the Netherlands in December 2023, raised questions about her whereabouts. While no health issues were reported, her prolonged absence suggests she may have engaged in private activities or travel travels during this period, though no concrete evidence confirms this. The security arrangements for Kim's travels would have been formidable. As First Lady, Kim's travels would likely involve stringent security measures, such as the Presidential Security Service, PSS, private jets, and discreet logistics. The Presidential Security Service would have deployed advanced teams to assess risks, secure locations, and coordinate with local authorities, a level of protection that rivals any intelligence agency operation. The logistical complexity of arranging secret travel for someone of Kim's status cannot be overstated. Private travel companies in South Korea, such as VIP Travel, offer customized tours that high-profile individuals might use for discreet travel. These services provide tailored itineraries, private guides, and exclusive accommodations, ensuring minimal public interaction while maintaining the luxury standards expected by political elites. The costs associated with Kim's potential secret travels would have been substantial. Based on industry standards, private jet charters can cost tens of thousands of dollars per trip, while luxury accommodations may range from $1,000 to $10,000 per night. When you add security personnel and the elaborate measures needed to maintain confidentiality, the total cost per trip could easily reach hundreds of thousands of dollars. Emine Erdogan. In the realm of controversial First Lady travel, few figures have generated as much debate and criticism as Emine Erdogan, Turkey's First Lady, whose travel arrangements have been described as nothing short of imperial in their scope and expense. Emine Erdogan's travels represent a fascinating study in how political power translates into luxury and logistical complexity. As the wife of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Emine Erdogan's travels are closely tied to official state activities or high-profile humanitarian efforts, but the scale and expense of these arrangements have made them a lightning rod for public criticism. The security measures surrounding Emine Erdogan's travel are extraordinary, shaped by Turkey's complex political landscape and the numerous security threats the presidential family has faced. Given the history of security incidents involving President Erdogan, including assassination plots and attacks, Emine Erdogan's travels involve robust security protocols. These would include close protection officers, secure transportation, and coordination with local authorities in host countries. What sets Emine Erdogan apart is her willingness to travel to some of the world's most dangerous destinations. Her documented visits to high-risk areas, such as Somalia in 2011, Myanmar in 2012, and Rohingya refugee camps in Bangladesh in 2017, indicate that her security arrangements are designed to mitigate significant threats. These trips require the kind of security planning typically reserved for heads of state visiting war zones. The logistical arrangements for Emine Erdogan's travels are nothing short of spectacular. She frequently travels on government planes, as evidenced by trips to Albania, the US, and Berlin. But it's not just about transportation. It's about the entire traveling circus that accompanies her. One of the most criticized aspects of her travel has been the use of multiple aircraft for single trips. A notable example is a US visit where multiple aircraft were used for the delegation, highlighting the scale of logistical coordination. Imagine the coordination required to manage not just one luxury aircraft, but an entire fleet, complete with security teams, diplomatic staff, and all the equipment needed to maintain communications and safety. The financial implications of Emine Erdogan's travel have become a source of significant political controversy in Turkey. Critics have pointed to what they see as excessive spending during a time of economic hardship for ordinary Turkish citizens. The use of multiple state aircraft for international trips, such as the US visit involving 5 planes, has drawn criticism for its cost, especially amid Turkey's economic challenges. But perhaps the most telling indicator of the luxury involved in her travel arrangements comes from her personal spending during these trips. Emine Erdogan's use of luxury goods, such as a $50,000 Hermes handbag during a Tokyo visit, has fueled public criticism of her spending habits. This single handbag costs more than what many Turkish citizens earn in an entire year. The criticism extends beyond luxury goods to shopping sprees that disrupt entire cities. Her reported $44,000 antique shopping spree in Warsaw and a Brussels shopping trip causing traffic disruptions further amplify perceptions of extravagance. When your shopping trip requires enough security to shut down city streets, you know you've reached a level of travel luxury that few can comprehend. Celia Flores. Perhaps no First Lady's travel arrangements are shrouded in more mystery and controversy than those of Celia Flores, Venezuela's First Lady and a central figure in one of Latin America's most secretive and embattled governments. Celia Flores represents a unique case study in secret travel because her movements are not just about luxury and security. They're about avoiding international sanctions, criminal investigations, and the watchful eyes of opposition forces both at home and abroad. Celia Flores, Venezuela's First Lady, likely travels with extensive security due to her high-profile status and the need to avoid international scrutiny. The evidence of Flores's secretive travel comes primarily from social media reports and intelligence sources, painting a picture of a woman who moves through the world like a ghost. A 2019 post claimed Flores left Venezuela on a mysterious Russian plane to the Dominican Republic, where she allegedly owns an $18 million house. Another post in 2024 suggested her personal plane was en route to Havana, Cuba. These posts align with patterns of secretive travel that would be expected for someone in her position. What makes Flores's travel particularly intriguing is how it connects to her family's legal troubles. Her nephews, Efrain Antonio Campos Flores and Francisco Flores de Freitas, were arrested in 2015 in Haiti while traveling on a private jet with Venezuelan diplomatic passports. This incident suggests that private air travel and diplomatic privileges may be standard for her family, potentially extending to her own movements and providing insight into the methods available to Venezuela's political elite. The security measures for Flores's travel would be particularly complex given Venezuela's political instability and her sanctioned status. A Reuters report noted that Yazenki Lamas, a former bodyguard for Flores, was arrested in Colombia, confirming she has a personal security team. This security detail, likely composed of government or military personnel, would accompany her domestically and internationally, requiring extensive coordination with allied nations. The financial implications of Flores' secret travel are staggering when you consider the resources required to move a sanctioned individual safely and discreetly. Based on industry estimates, private jet charters can cost tens of thousands of dollars per trip, while luxury accommodations and security personnel could add hundreds of thousands more. The reported $18 million property in the Dominican Republic serves as both a destination and a symbol of the wealth that enables such elaborate travel arrangements. The logistical challenges of arranging secret travel for someone under international sanctions cannot be overstated. US sanctions imposed in 2018 restrict Flores's access to US-based financial systems, potentially limiting her travel options. However, Venezuela's alliances with countries like Russia, China, and Cuba provide alternatives, as suggested by reports of Russian aircraft being used for her travel. Dominique Ouattara. In the world of African politics, few figures remain as mysteriously elusive when it comes to travel arrangements as Dominique Ouattara, the First Lady of Côte d'Ivoire, whose movements seem to occur in a parallel universe of discretion and secrecy. Dominique Ouattara presents a fascinating case study because, unlike other First Ladies who generate headlines with their luxury travel, her arrangements appear designed for maximum invisibility. Research suggests Dominique Ouattara's travel details are likely kept confidential for security reasons, creating an information vacuum that itself tells a story about the sophisticated nature of her travel protocols. As the wife of President Alassane Ouattara and a successful businesswoman with a background in real estate, having served as CEO of AICI International Group trips since 1979, Dominique possesses both the resources and the security requirements that would necessitate elaborate travel arrangements. Her role as president of the Children of Africa Foundation also involves international humanitarian missions that would require careful planning and security coordination. The challenge in understanding Dominique Ouattara's travel arrangements lies in their very success at maintaining secrecy. Given her role, it seems likely that Dominique Ouattara travels with a significant security detail, similar to other First Ladies globally. However, the specific details of her logistical arrangements, especially for secret travel, are not available publicly, which is exactly the point. The security measures for her travel would likely follow patterns established by other African First Ladies and international best practices. This would involve advanced security teams, coordination with local authorities, and the use of secure transportation. However, the evidence leans toward her using government resources for logistics, but specifics are unclear, suggesting a level of operational security that keeps even basic information out of public view. The logistical arrangements for someone of Ouattara's status would be substantial. High-profile individuals often choose destinations with privacy features, such as private islands, luxury resorts, or secure estates. The fact that we know so little about where she goes or how she gets there suggests that these arrangements are working exactly as intended. Melissa Santoki Sinacheri. In the small South American nation of Suriname, First Lady Melissa Santoki Sinacheri has mastered perhaps the most difficult travel art of all, moving through the world while leaving virtually no trace of how she does it. Melissa Santoki Sinacheri represents the ultimate case study in discretionary travel because despite holding one of the most prominent positions in her country, research suggests there is no publicly available information on how Melissa Santoki Sinacheri travels secretly. This absence of information is not accidental. It represents a sophisticated approach to security that relies on invisibility rather than overwhelming force. As a lawyer by profession with degrees from Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam and Anton de Kom University in Suriname, Santoki Sinacheri brings an intellectual approach to the challenges of secure travel. Her international educational background suggests familiarity with global security protocols and the kind of discreet movement that characterizes diplomatic circles. The security arrangements for Santoki Sinacheri's travel would likely be proportional to Suriname's size and resources, but no less sophisticated for being smaller in scale. As the spouse of the head of state, her travels, especially internationally, are likely arranged by the Suriname government. These arrangements would typically include security details, government transportation, and logistical support, but the specific methods remain completely hidden from public view. What makes her case particularly intriguing is how personal discretion appears to extend to official functions. Her role suggests a focus on privacy, as seen in their secret wedding in 2020, indicating that secrecy is not just about security, but about a fundamental approach to public life that values privacy above visibility. The logistical challenges of arranging travel for the First Lady of a smaller nation are unique. Without the massive security apparatus available to larger countries, the arrangements would need to be more creative and rely more heavily on discretion and intelligence than on overwhelming force. The evidence leans toward her international trips being managed with privacy, but specific details on elaborate measures or costs are not disclosed. The costs associated with her travel, while likely substantial relative to Suriname's economy, would be managed differently than those of First Ladies from wealthier nations. The focus would be on efficiency and security rather than luxury, though the specific financial arrangements remain as mysterious as everything else about her travel protocols. What's most remarkable about Santoki Sinacheri's approach is how it demonstrates that effective secret travel doesn't require massive budgets or overwhelming security forces. Instead, it can rely on careful planning, strategic partnerships, and most importantly, the discipline to keep operational details completely out of public view. Carmen Iohannis. Moving to Eastern Europe, we encounter Carmen Iohannis, Romania's former First Lady, whose travel arrangements perfectly illustrate how even in relatively transparent democracies, the movement of political elites can remain shrouded in secrecy and surrounded by controversy. Carmen Iohannis's travel story is one of luxury, classification, and public controversy. Carmen Iohannis, former First Lady of Romania, 2014 to 2025, primarily traveled as part of her husband, President Klaus Iohannis's official state visits, which were often kept confidential due to their classification as state secrets. This classification created a fascinating paradox where the public knew she was traveling extensively, but the details remained legally protected from scrutiny. The luxury involved in Carmen Iohannis's travel arrangements reached extraordinary levels. The use of a Boeing 737-900ER BBJ global jet for a 2023 trip to Japan and Singapore, featuring luxurious amenities like a bedroom and relaxation areas, demonstrates the kind of comfort and luxury that modern First Ladies have come to expect. This wasn't just transportation, it was a flying luxury hotel capable of accommodating up to 19 passengers. What makes Carmen Iohannis's case particularly interesting is how personal activities were seamlessly woven into official travel. During a 2023 African tour, Carmen and Klaus Iohannis went on an unannounced safari in Kenya, only revealed after images surfaced online. This safari, which took place in Nairobi National Park, was not part of the initial public schedule and was only discovered when the Kenyan Department of Natural Reserves shared images on social media. The secrecy surrounding these arrangements was legally protected under Romanian law. Travel details were classified as state secrets under Romanian Law No. 544/2001 and Law No. 182/2002, meaning that specific information about flight routes, accommodations, and security arrangements could not be legally disclosed to the public. This created a situation where even routine aspects of travel became state secrets. The financial implications of these travel arrangements were staggering. Over Klaus Iohannis's 10-year presidency, 193 foreign visits cost nearly 23 million euros, averaging approximately 119,000 euros per trip. While this figure includes the entire delegation, Carmen Iohannis's participation contributed significantly to these costs, particularly when luxury accommodations and private aircraft were involved. Individual trips reached extraordinary cost levels that sparked public outrage. Media estimates suggested that the Japan-Singapore trip in 2023 could have cost up to 350,000 euros, though exact figures were not disclosed due to their classified nature. To put this in perspective, this single trip cost more than most Romanian citizens earn in a decade. The logistical complexity of these arrangements was impressive in its scope. When staying in hotels, entire floors above and below her room were cleared and secured, significantly increasing costs. The coordination required to clear hotel floors, arrange luxury aircraft, and maintain security across multiple countries represents a massive undertaking that few outside government circles can truly comprehend. Tshepo Motsepe. In the Rainbow Nation of South Africa, Tshepo Motsepe represents a fascinating case study in how First Lady travel arrangements must balance luxury with the complex security challenges of a nation still grappling with high crime rates and political tensions. Tshepo Motsepe's travel arrangements reflect the sophisticated security apparatus that South Africa has developed to protect its political leadership. Tshepo Motsepe, South Africa's First Lady, likely travels with extensive security provided by the Presidential Protection Unit, PPU, involving armored vehicles and trained officers, especially for official trips. The PPU represents one of the most professional and well-equipped protection services on the African continent. The scale of protection available to Tshepo Motsepe is truly impressive. The Presidential Protection Unit comprises 1,382 protection officers, borders and is tasked with both static and in-transit protection. This means that when the First Lady travels, she has access to a small army of highly trained professionals whose sole job is to keep her safe and ensure her movements remain secure. The logistical arrangements for Motsepe's travel integrate her into South Africa's broader presidential travel framework. When Tshepho Motsepe accompanies President Ramaphosa on state visits, her travel logistics are integrated into the presidential travel framework, using secure transportation like the presidential jet Inkwazi for international trips. This integration ensures maximum efficiency while maintaining the highest security standards. The costs associated with presidential travel in South Africa, which encompasses the First Lady's movements, are substantial. The PPU's annual budget is approximately R693 million, covering the protection of 17 VIPs, including the First Lady. This massive budget reflects the serious commitment South Africa makes to protecting its political leadership and their families. Individual travel costs can be staggering. A single presidential trip, such as Ramaphosa's 2019 visit to Egypt, was estimated to cost close to R1 million, covering fuel, crew, and other expenses. When you consider that this includes just one trip, the annual costs of presidential and First Lady travel become astronomical. Perhaps most shocking of all is the luxury that accompanies these security arrangements. Catering costs for President Ramaphosa and VIPs on the state jet Inkwazi have exceeded R138 million. Think about that number, over 138 million rand just for food and beverages on presidential flights. That's more than most people will see in multiple lifetimes. The international coordination required for Motsepe's travel demonstrates South Africa's diplomatic reach. During the 2022 state visit to the UK, where Tshepho Motsepe accompanied the president, logistics involved coordination with foreign governments, including a ceremonial welcome and state carriage procession. Such arrangements require months of planning and coordination between multiple government agencies. For secret or private travel, the arrangements would likely maintain the same high standards while adding layers of discretion. Details on secret or private trips are scarce due to their confidential nature, but they likely involve discreet security measures and high costs. Private security services supplement the PPU's efforts when additional discretion is required. Alina Kabaeva. Our final case study takes us into the shadowy world of Russian politics, where Alina Kabaeva, widely rumored to be Vladimir Putin's partner and often called the secret First Lady, represents perhaps the most mysterious and heavily protected travel arrangements of any political figure's spouse in the world. Alina Kabaeva's travel arrangements exist in a realm of speculation and secrecy that would make Cold War spies envious. The First Lady position in Russia is currently vacant following Vladimir Putin's divorce from Lyudmila Putina in 2014, with Alina Kabaeva often rumored to be Putin's partner and sometimes referred to as the secret First Lady. This unofficial status creates a unique situation where someone with immense influence operates completely outside normal diplomatic protocols. To understand how Kabaeva might travel, we must examine Putin's own extraordinary security arrangements, which likely extend to those closest to him. Putin uses a luxury train with advanced amenities, armored limousines and decoy aircraft to ensure security and secrecy. Picture this: a specially equipped train with anti-aging machines and a Turkish bath, multiple armored vehicles deployed as decoys, and an entire fleet of aircraft to obscure exact locations. This is the level of sophisticated deception that characterizes Russian VIP travel. The security measures available to someone in Kabaeva's position would be extraordinary. As a high-profile figure linked to Putin, Kabaeva likely receives protection from the Federal Protective Service, FSO, or similar agencies, especially if traveling with or on behalf of Putin. The FSO represents one of the world's most sophisticated protection services, with resources that rival military intelligence operations. The logistical complexity of arranging secret secret travel for someone under international sanctions adds another layer of intrigue. Since 2022, Kabaeva has faced sanctions, potentially complicating international travel but not eliminating it, as state resources could circumvent restrictions. This means that any travel arrangements must not only maintain secrecy, but also avoid detection by international monitoring systems designed to track sanctioned individuals. The costs associated with such elaborate travel arrangements would be staggering. Based on comparisons with other high-security travel, private jets and armored vehicles incur high operational costs, potentially millions per trip, similar to US presidential travel estimates. When you factor in the need for multiple decoy vehicles, advanced communication systems, and the coordination required to move someone secretly across international borders, the expenses become astronomical. Evidence suggests that Kabaeva has maintained an international presence despite her secretive status. Reports suggest Kabaeva has resided in Switzerland or owns European properties, indicating international travel. The fact that she can maintain properties and presence in countries that have sanctioned her suggests travel arrangements of extraordinary sophistication and expense. The level of secrecy surrounding Kabaeva's movements is so complete that even her public appearances are rare events. Her rare public appearances suggest a preference for secrecy, possibly using private transport to avoid media scrutiny. When someone with her profile can remain virtually invisible while maintaining an active international lifestyle, it suggests access to travel resources that most intelligence agencies would envy. The operational security required for Kabaeva's travel would likely involve multiple layers of deception. Similar to Putin's use of decoy aircraft, Kabaeva's travel might involve misdirection to protect her location. This could include false flight plans, decoy vehicles, and even body doubles, techniques that transform travel from simple transportation into elaborate intelligence operations. What makes Kabaeva's case particularly fascinating is how it represents the ultimate evolution of secret First Lady travel. Unlike other political spouses who must balance public duties with private security, Kabaeva operates in a realm where secrecy itself is the primary goal. The lack of specific, verifiable information about Kabaeva's travel reflects the Kremlin's deliberate secrecy, creating a situation where absence of information becomes the most telling information of all. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.